They've spent ungodly amounts of money testing every imaginable tactic and strategy that you could possibly think of. And here's the truth. There is nothing new in marketing or there's no guesswork, zero guesswork, none. Depending on the stage of your business, what your main objectives are. Is it client acquisition? Is it keeping your clients from leaving? Is it scaling? Is it growth? Doesn't matter. There's a very specific formula that achieves each of these phases. Nobody makes a decision to buy something. They make decisions not to buy those options that they realize aren't going to do what they needed to do. So the process of choosing something is a process of elimination. You need to understand what your competitors are saying to the targets you want. Because if you say the same thing, there's no reason for the client to unbind themselves and come to you.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest. Welcome, Digital Trailblazers. I am super pumped to introduce you to Marty Marion. Marty spent years working for the very biggest ad agencies, like the actual ad agency that the amazing show Mad Men was based off of. And he has worked with multi-billion dollar companies and launched their brands and products. And he is actually translating those massive, big, multi-billion dollar brand concepts into us, the solopreneurs, the online space, and helping us understand how to take everything that they've spent millions and millions of dollars testing and working on and bringing it to us, helping us learn those same lessons and crush it in our own marketplace. So welcome, Marty. We're super excited to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, Leah.
Yay. Welcome. So, all right. People who have never worked in the traditional ad space, traditional marketing space, marketing, messaging, all of this is critical to all that we do in the online world, obviously. But help us to understand some of those core principles and how, they're core principles, right? So they're going to translate over to what we do.
Yeah, it's a great question. And, let me start out by saying that it doesn't matter if you are a solopreneur, a small or medium-sized agency, a coach, a consultant, if you're running $100 million or a $500 million business in e-com or in services, the underlying principles are exactly the same. Exactly. And the reason for that is that your targets, consumers, clients, customers, they make buying decisions in a very, very specific way. Their brains are hardwired to decide which of multiple options I'm going to buy or choose, right? And one little secret, which we can get into a little bit if you want later, is that nobody makes a decision to buy something. They make decisions not to buy those options that they realize aren't going to do what they needed to do. So the process of choosing something is a process of elimination. And Your objective as a brand, as a coach, as a solopreneur, as an agency, is to not be eliminated. Because at the end of the road, if all the others are eliminated, you're the last one standing and you win. In the absence of no, the only remaining choice is yes. So how do you communicate the kinds of messages that are going to cause your targets to think that way, to react that way, to see you as the only one who can provide the solution to their problem, solve their pain point, fulfill their needs or desires in ways that your competitors cannot, will not, or do not. Those are the reasons why they get eliminated. And so I say this to all of my clients that, after 4 decades of being on Madison Avenue with the biggest agencies in the world and working with and creating launch strategies and growth strategies for literally $100 billion companies, I've learned that there's a very interesting dynamic going on. Think about it this way. If you are not absolutely the only one selling what you sell, or offering what you are offering, or teaching what you teach, that means there are others who sell the same thing, or provide the same service, or something similar enough. And those pesky things we call competitors. And because you have competitors, your targets have options. They can choose a competitor or they can choose you. You want to choose you. Your competitor wants them to choose them. Only one of you is going to win. So the whole ball game boils down to what we call competitive advantage. If you can establish in the mind of your target that obviously you are the right choice, then you win and you get market dominance, because customer acquisition, client acquisition is exactly the same. The only difference between a solopreneur, for example, and $100 billion e-com brand like Coca-Cola or M&M's is the amount of money they spend. And that's a benefit to you, because my experience of decades dealing with these crazy large brands has taught me something. They all do exactly the same things the same way. Of course, the words inside the message are different, but they've spent ungodly amounts of money testing every imaginable tactic and strategy that you could possibly think of. And here's the truth. There is nothing new in marketing or there's no guesswork, zero guesswork, none. Depending on the stage of your business, what your main objectives are. Is it client acquisition? Is it keeping your clients from leaving? Is it scaling? Is it growth? Doesn't matter. There's a very specific formula that achieves each of these phases. And so what I decided to do was to leave the big agency world and take these tactics and strategies and reframe them in such a way that solopreneurs and small businesses can apply them and save a lot of money wasting time, making mistakes, throwing spaghetti on the wall, trying to be clever. Leah, I always say this. The objective is never, ever to outspend your competition. It's to outsmart them. And if you can master some of these techniques that the giants have perfected and adapt them to your specific business, you can wipe out your competitors, literally, in the minds of your target audience, your addressable market. You can eliminate your competitors, and in their mind, it's the only place that matters. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put all your competitors into bankruptcy. You just have to get them out of your targets' minds. There's a very specific way to do that, period. And it can be applied to any business at any stage, in any niche or category. The principles are exactly the same. So what I decided to do for the last 15, almost 20 years now is teach these tactics to coaches, consultants, small agencies, buying agencies, creative shops, solopreneurs. And the results have been just insane.
That's awesome. So walk us through some of these principles and help us understand how we can apply them in our businesses.
Sure. So we've gone through an evolution in, I'm just going to use the word marketing to encompass all of it. Marketing, advertising, promotion, social, all of it. Every channel of you talking to your target, messaging to your target. I'm just going to call that marketing. We've gone through an evolution. 30 years ago, everything really revolved around the features and benefits of the product or service you were marketing. And you've all heard the expression, the USP, your unique selling proposition, or your unique value proposition. And it was wonderful 30 years ago. It's not applicable anymore today. And it's way past this expiration. And so marketers have grown up thinking that if they can only convey how absolutely amazing their product is, and they offer it at an amazing price, what a great opportunity, that they're going to sell a lot of their products and services. And it doesn't work. Here's why. What was missing all along in the thinking and the platform underlying successful marketing was that you need to do two things. Not only do you need to convince your addressable target that you are going to help them and therefore compel them in favor of your brand and your service, but you also need to compel them away from your competitors. So the two-part process. The positioning science is what compels people to perceive that you're going to solve their problem. But the depositioning aspect is what causes them to see your competitors as not viable. Now, here's another thing to weave into this. There are very, very few really true new entrants into any marketplace. You're selling toothpaste. How many new people are just starting to use toothpaste tomorrow for the very first time? Not a lot. But you've got this great new toothpaste, and it's got an amazing flavor, and it protects your teeth, and it cures the frizzies, and it does everything. Where are you going to get your clients from, your customers? You're going to spend more than the other guy? How are you going to outspend Colgate? Can't do it. Crest. You can't outspend them. But what can you do? You can look at the easiest, lowest hanging fruit to attract those users who are already using toothpaste, that's an example, to come to your brand. You have to understand, because there's not a lot of new people just starting to wake up to the fact that toothpaste exists. Everybody is already using some other brand of toothpaste. They're not using your new brand. So you need to take market share away from your competitors who have the target customers and clients that you want. It works the same thing for agencies. Everybody out there who is in need, every company out there, every brand out there who wants to achieve something is already doing something about it. They haven't been sitting around for the last year or 2 years or 5 years waiting for you to come along. They found a solution, and they believe that that solution is probably good enough for them. But because they're not the subject matter experts in marketing, they're business owners. The issue of, are they really getting everything they should be getting from their current provider or their current favorite brand? And so what we teach is that there are two, what we call critical movers. If you know that your market is already using your competitors, we call that being bound to another brand or another service or another agency. You've got to unbind them before they can be free to come to you. How do you unbind somebody from a brand or an agency or a service that they're currently using? And there's only two ways to do that. And this is the result of literally hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of tactical testing in real markets, every category. So here's the answer. People only give up a brand they like or a service they're using if one of two things happens. They start to doubt that they're really getting what they thought they should be getting, well, what they could be getting. And we see, and I'll use a couple of famous examples, Capital One credit cards. What's the marketing there? What's in your wallet? What does that do? It puts a question mark in your mind for a moment. What's in my wallet? What cards am I using? Is this other card a better card for me? Does it have more perks? And as human beings, we are hardwired to answer questions. We can't leave a question alone. It festers in our minds. It bothers us when we sleep. We have to find the answer, right? And so as we're finding the answer, if you can prompt your target to either have the smallest possibility of doubt about the brand they're using today or the service they're using today, you've opened up a wedge that you can get your foot in the door. And it's not about the features of your product. It's about, is the other brand, is the other agency really giving you what you need, what you want? And so that's one piece of it. The second piece is to cause the bound target to become dissatisfied with their current brand or service. And can I pick on you for a moment, Leah, as an example?
Absolutely. Sure.
So Leah has absolutely gorgeous, luxurious hair. And Leah has a shampoo that she really, really, really loves. She uses it all the time. And it makes her hair luxurious and clean, and it smells great, and it's nice and shiny, and it's perfect. It's the best shampoo. And so when Leah runs out of, we'll call it the Leah shampoo, she's going to buy more of it because that's her brand. Now, along comes, I'm going to pick on you, Todd, along comes the Todd shampoo. And the Todd shampoo wants Leah to use that shampoo. Leah says, I've already got a shampoo. It's okay. I got what I like. It's good enough. And Todd says, well, my shampoo smells better. Well, it doesn't matter. My shampoo, you get 4 more ounces in a bottle. You don't care. My shampoo is $1 less. So what? I love my shampoo. It's not worth saving $1 on a risk. So you can talk till you're blue in the face about your features and your benefits. And the ugly truth is, and this is a tough love kind of statement, nobody cares. All your features, all your benefits, all your accolades, all your social proof, all your results and your charts and your graphs, all of that is supportive once the target comes to think you can actually solve something for them. It's about them, not about you. So Todd says, hey, Leah, or to the addressable market, puts out a blog, puts out a news release. Did you see the latest research article from the Mayo Clinic that says sodium lauryl sulfate, a common ingredient in shampoos, has been definitively linked to brain cancer. What do? You run to your bathroom, you shower, you pull out your jar of shampoo, and you look at it and you say, oh my God, it's got this stuff in it that causes brain cancer, and I'm rubbing it on my head? Now you are unbound. So Todd's marketing message for the Todd shampoo would be the Todd shampoo made without sodium lauryl sulfate. And the supportive message is, here's why. And so by reading that and learning it, you become dissatisfied, angry even, with the current brand. So we use this for agencies. I'll give you an agency example, right? I have agencies, small agencies, 2-3 person agencies that are, clients, and they're having a tough time. There's a lot of competition out there. You're a Facebook marketing agency, a Facebook ad agency, a Google ad agency. You're an SEO. The competition is absolute insanity. What do? You offer something that we call a landmine. You put something out in the marketplace that your targets can easily access, free, low hurdle, give it away all over the place. Drop leaflets from airplanes if you need to, that talk about the equivalent of, does your agency use sodium lauryl sulfate? For example, ask your agency these 3 questions. Number 1, what attribution model are you using? And if they tell you 1 day and 7 day and 30 day, the reality is those are useless numbers. They'll give you fake data. And you're going to make your decisions about your business based on data that isn't comprehensive enough. Why? Because the only thing that matters to you as a business is LTV. If you have a customer that's likely to make 3 purchases, 4 purchases, 8 purchases in a year, that's a better customer than somebody who's going to come once. So early adopters who are attracted by these shiny object offers, right? Save 40% on your first purchase. Just sign up for my newsletter. Ridiculous. There are so many better ways to do it. And the ways to do it are built into a hybrid science of marketing, positioning, bring those targets to believe in you, and simultaneously depositioning whatever it is they're using. Now, depositioning, I get this a lot. You don't have to go negative. You don't have to call out your competitor by name. You have to deposition the entire playing field of competitors. Super Bowl, a couple years ago, Bud Light came out with a positioning program. 4 words. Disrupted a $1 billion industry overnight. Bud Light, brewed without corn syrup. So the positioning part of that is, everybody knows corn syrup isn't great for you. So you think, okay, it's an attribute of Bud Light. Nice. But wait a second. All those other beers have corn syrup? Bud Light put the question mark, a landmine, in the mind of the beer drinkers at Super Bowl, saying, we don't have corn syrup, wink, wink, meaning, implied, all those other brands have corn syrup. So you'll pick up your bottle of Coors or Molson or whatever it is, and corn syrup. In fact, it was such a successful campaign that they got sued by their competitors, right, for unfair marketing practices. And at the end of the process, they won the case because it was true. And while the other beers, the competitors didn't have corn syrup in the beer, they used it in the brewing process. There are so many examples of this. I don't know if you remember a TV commercial. I'm old. I'm going to date myself. TV commercial, 3 elderly women sitting around a table in a fast food burger place and are lovely Clara, Grandma Clara, picks up the phone and yells, "Where's the beef?"
Yep. I still remember that.
You shouldn't have to say anything else. Where's the beef? What does that cause? It causes you to think that these other burger places, other fast food burger chains, other than Wendy's, you're not getting what you're paying for. You're getting a small hockey puck of a burger instead of the beef. Depositioning is the secret sauce.
Yep.
It's what gives you competitive advantage quickly and sustainably. And so what I tell all of my clients is, if you're competing, you've already lost. You just don't know it yet. Stop competing by elevating your brand promise, your marketing, your meaningful benefit to a different level that convinces your target you're going to fix their problem, solve their pain point, fulfill their need, and the competitors, whether they're out there, whether you're using them, can't do it or don't do it. That's the ballgame. And it's all tactical. This isn't strategic. This is tactical.
I love the way that you boil it down to this one, the deep positioning, because really that is the big key. And in our world, what we would say to our clients is, we're burning all the bridges, all the other paths to the goal that they want to achieve, that we help them to achieve. We need to burn all the bridges, all the other paths to that goal. We need to burn them down so that the only option is what you offer. And I think what a lot of people are used to is, the one big thing concept that Russell Brunson made famous with his perfect webinar thing, where it's like, hey, if we can get these people to believe this one big thing, then, obviously they have to buy it. Well, yeah, that's part of it. But the more important part, rather than just emphasizing why you're different better, is you need to talk about the competition. Like, what are those other paths to achieving the goal, and how do we eliminate those? We need to do that first before we can present the one big thing, because otherwise they still have options. Like you said, if they've got options, then it leads to indecision, or if they're already happy with, if there is no problem with the current thing, if there is no problem, there is no sale. So it doesn't matter if you've got this one big thing. You gotta
Deposition.
Yeah. You need to do that first before they're willing to accept whatever it is that you're offering.
And I was going to say, you're 2,000,000% correct. The concept of the one big thing is not new. Russell didn't figure it out. Okay. It was created by an advertising creative director named George Lois. And it was called The Big Idea. And the big idea was that if you could come up with a message that you had this one unbelievable thing that was going to fix everything in the world for your clients, that they would gravitate to it. And the big idea was absolutely brilliant up until the early 2000s, maybe even 2010 mark. But it's useless now because everybody, this is a cute thing, everybody in the world thinks that their baby, their newborn baby, is the cutest baby ever born in the whole universal history of babies, right? Mm-hmm. Babies are cute, let's admit it. But not every baby is the most beautiful baby ever born. Not every product is the best product ever made. Not every service is the best service ever offered. Not every course is the best course on the subject ever created. Why? Because best is a useless term. Best only works when you add for something. You're going to buy a laptop, right? Well, you might search in Google for, best laptops of 2025. Okay. Buying intent for sure, right? And you're going to see all these great listings of laptops. What we don't know is why you need a laptop. Are you a graphic designer, so you need a high-end graphics card? Are you a student? Are you a digital nomad and you travel a lot to see clients and you need a lightweight laptop? Are you a video editor and you need high-resolution screen capability and color calibration? There's a lot of different needs for a laptop. So a laptop marketer needs to be very specific. You need to understand who your target is precisely. And then you need to understand what their need is. And then you need to understand what your competitors are saying to the targets you want. Because if you say the same thing, there's no reason for the client to unbind themselves and come to you. So figuring out your positioning message, figuring out your depositioning strategy is actually the last step in the chain of creating a successful marketing or advertising strategy to acquire customers and clients. Number one, who's your target? Precisely. Women who have young children. Okay, what's their pain point? I'm traveling a lot. My kids are in the car. God forbid there's a car accident. I want my kids to survive and be safe. Okay. So for families with young children who are concerned about the safety of their kids in the car, Volvo makes the safest SUV in the world because we use more side airbags and more steel struts than any other SUV made. So I've given you the meaningful benefit that resonates with your particular pain point. I've given you the brand promise when it's the safest SUV, not the best SUV, safest. And then I give you the coup de grace, which is the reason to believe, because every consultant in a particular category, every course that's offered in a particular category, every agency, every solopreneur, everybody in the same category, you all sound the same. Stop it. If you sound the same, your target doesn't have a reason to think you are differentiated. And that's where the science of red ocean, blue ocean started to come in, right? So, quick definition for those who aren't familiar. A red ocean is a marketing environment where there's lots of competitors and it's a brutal shark feeding frenzy. Everybody's out there, dissing the other one, beating up the other competitor. We're better, we're smarter, we do this, we made more results, we have bigger clients, look at our logos, etc. You don't want to play in that game. You're going to waste all your resources, all your time, all your money trying to cut through the noise. So what you want to do is you want to get out of the red ocean and you want to create your own blue ocean. Nice and tropical, swimming around in the breeze, birds flying, etc. You become the biggest fish in the new pond because you're the only one, which means you're the only game in town. And you do that by creating, and this is the big home run, what we call a category class. And the reason it's called a category class is because you're not inventing the category. It already exists, or you wouldn't be doing it. But go back to the shampoo. Nobody invented shampoo. The Todd shampoo, he didn't invent the concept of shampoo. Leah's been using the Leah shampoo for years. What did Todd do? He created a new category, not just effective shampoo, but effective shampoo that doesn't contain dangerous ingredients. He elevated. And by elevating, what he did was he absolutely crushed and eliminated anyone from considering a shampoo that they know has a dangerous chemical in it. And every one of you, I promise you, every single one of you, if you can learn the basics of positioning and depositioning, you can create your own blue ocean quickly, decisively, sustainably, and own your market. Every one of you.
This is absolutely packed with information, and we could spend hours and hours unpacking this and going into depth. But that whole concept, especially like the one thing that you said that really resonated was the reason that makes it believable, right? When you make a claim, like we're the safest SUV, but here's the reason that it's believable. I feel like that's the part that so many people are missing. And then also just speaking to a specific customer avatar, especially with life coaches, health and wellness, well, even business coach, like it's in every industry, business coaches, life coaches, mindset, health and wellness, weight loss. I think it's people get into this mindset that, yeah, I can help anybody lose weight. Because what I do, I can help anybody lose weight. And so their marketing is so generic and general, and they don't speak to that specific person that makes it feel like it's for them. And I say this all the time. If you think about your clients or your prospects that are sitting at their keyboard, they've got a problem that they want solved, and they're typing something into Google or YouTube to find a solution to that problem. People are not looking for a generic solution to a specific problem. If someone has image issues and they feel like they want to lose weight, maybe they're thinking like, how do I get rid of belly fat? Maybe how to lose weight is an issue, but really the belly fat is what bugs them, and they want to get rid of that. They're going to type in how to lose belly fat. But when they come up with the search results, they're going to look for someone who looks like them. They're not going to look at something like, okay, well, this woman who is 60 years old lost this much belly fat. Okay, well, I'm a guy and I'm much younger than that. So even though that might be how to lose belly fat, it's still not targeted to me. So I'm going to find someone that looks like me, that's in my age range, that needs to lose belly fat, and I want to see how that person got results, right?
I'm going to stop you right there and interject something. This is probably one of the most important discussions in all of marketing and advertising, all of it, in client acquisition, customer acquisition. The person who searches on Google or on YouTube how to lose weight, they may not type in the specific words belly fat, but that's in their mind. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when we're on our phones searching, the search comes up. What do? We scroll. And where do we stop? We stop when our mind, our subconscious heuristics, sees one word and says, oh, that's for me. It's what I'm looking for. So if you type in weight loss, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of listings and ads and the first one that uses the word belly fat, that's the one you're clicking. So when you create your marketing messages, they need to be multiple and individually tailored and crafted. Because you need to understand, here's another thing that I created. It's called the intent behind the intent. Okay? You're going to buy a new Rolex, Todd. Right? So you're going to go online. What are you going to search for? Best Rolexes, best prices on Rolexes, most reliable Rolex, whatever, right? So I know you want a Rolex. So if I'm optimizing my message or my website or my SEO or my PPC, I'm going to optimize it along the lines of somebody who wants to buy a Rolex, assuming I sell watches. But I don't know why you want a Rolex. Do you want it so that you can wear it in the boardroom and look impressive and successful? Do you want it so that you can go out socially and, everybody says, ooh, who's that guy? Or do you want it because your daughter just graduated law school and you want to give her the most amazing present ever? Or maybe your lifelong best friend is getting married and you want to give them the gift of a lifetime, an amazing Rolex. Your intent is to buy a Rolex. but your intent behind the intent, the reason why, is what I need to address for you to come to me. And because I don't know in advance all these different possible intents behind the intent, I need to address all of them in such a way that one of them is going to resonate with you instantaneously and bring you to me. This is the science of positioning. And when you come to me, I need to now deposition the possibility that you're going to go looking elsewhere. How do I do that? You were looking for best Rolex, but what was in your mind was, give it to your daughter who just graduated law school. It's a gift, right? So when you scroll down and you see the listings, best Rolexes, and one says best Rolexes as graduation gifts, that's the one you're stopping on.
Yep.
That's when you're clicking. You're a coach. You're a life coach. What is a life coach? What aspect of life are you helping people get better at? Feeling secure, feeling confident, being less socially awkward, separating life from business. There's 100 aspects to being a life coach. What are you a life coach for? And if you can be more specific to your addressable market based on your expertise, you talk about them. Nobody cares that you've been coaching for 20 years. Nobody cares that your PPC graphs are going through the roof and you're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 times ROAS for your clients. Because, the old saying, past performance is not a predictor of future results. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't say that when I'm looking at people online and see all their graphs on their website, right? But it's subconsciously in my mind. I know, just because he did it for them doesn't mean he's going to do it for me. Marketing is very simple. Advertising is very simple. Client acquisition, customer acquisition is so simple you can do it in your sleep. And I'm going to give you one last example here that's going to tie that together, right? So simple, a caveman can do it.
Geico.
Boom.
That was a while ago, too. I'm kind of impressed that I remember that.
And you remember it because of something we call the availability heuristic. Heuristics, and 200 of them, are shortcuts, mental shortcuts in your brain that help you recall things, process things, and kind of kick you in the ass to make a decision. Because we don't have time to sit and evaluate every piece of information we get every single day. Humans are bombarded with millions of inputs a day. Sounds, sights, tastes, words, images, emotions. We can't process them all, but our brain can. The heuristics can. So I'm scanning something and a heuristic says, oh, stop there. And then I stop there. We have to appeal to the psychology of why consumers do what they do, why customers do what they do, why clients do what they do. If we understand that psychology, and then we can apply positioning and depositioning science into it, we get competitive advantage. It's really that simple.
And with that life coach example, every time we bring on a life coach, one of the first things we do is we kind of do an evaluation of their messaging. And so many times they'll say, okay, so what's the result that you help people to achieve? And they can't even articulate it because they're like, well, whatever they want to do, we help them to do. And it's like, okay, we can't build messaging around that. We need something specific. We need to talk to a specific person, help them to achieve a specific goal, because that's really what people are looking for. They're not looking for a generic solution to a specific problem, right? They've got a specific problem that they want solved, and we need to be able to speak to that.
Specificity is everything, Todd. Everything.
And I was going to say, we've got one client that I can think of in particular that was a life coach that did that. And he niched down to working specifically with women who had already done life coaching, but whose husbands haven't. and their goal was to get the husbands on board. And so that was his whole thing. And I think he did like 6 figures within the first quarter of the year, just with that message, without running any paid ads, just marketing to that.
Absolutely. I believe that 100,000,000%. I'm going to modify one word you said, though. We need to stop thinking about the concept of niching down. Niching down is a narrowing. I'm going to specialize in this one thing. I'm going to message this one thing. That makes a lot of sense. But you're not really niching down. What you are is you're niching away. You're niching away from all those other competitors who aren't focusing on the specificity that you're focusing on. So I tell my clients, don't say, oh, I'm going to niche down. No. Don't think in a negative term. The word down is a negative word, right? Think in a positive term. I'm going to niche away from the masses. Marketing is a mindset. Being a buying decision is a mindset. There are so many of these lessons that, I've learned over 40 years with these ridiculous clients. And I don't think I'm breaking confidentiality, but, I was part of the strategic team that wrote the strategy to go to market for products like Viagra and Geico and M&Ms and Kraft Foods and the New York Stock Exchange. And it goes on and on and on and on. You know why they're successful? They're successful because of positioning, positioning. And all of you should recall this when I say it right away. What's the positioning mantra for M&Ms? Quick.
Melt in your mouth, not in your hand.
Done. Perfect. Now think about that. The benefit is my kids are not going to have chocolatey goo all over their hands that they're going to get on the kitchen table and the curtains and the couch and their clothes, right? So it's a benefit to me because they're hard-coded. But more importantly, it depositions all other chocolate candy treats. That's why it won.
I think this discussion is probably the most important discussion.
We could go on for weeks.
Yeah. And it's the thing is, it's like the most important discussion that we need to have, because so often we run across entrepreneurs and small business owners, solopreneurs, that they've tried strategy after strategy after strategy, and they'll buy a course on webinars and it doesn't work. They'll buy a course on how to run Facebook ads and they don't generate a single lead. They'll buy a course on this, that, and the other thing, and nothing works. And the thing is that it's not the strategy that's broken, it's their messaging.
Boom. Oh, God, I love you. I could reach through the screen.
If they had just fixed their messaging, the webinar would have worked, the Facebook ad would work, it would all have worked. Because you look at the businesses who are successful, they use those strategies and they always work. But then you look at people who don't have good positioning, they try all the same strategies and they don't work. And that variable there is the message.
And what is the message from a marketing, lexicon? You're correct. It's not about strategy. It's about tactics. A message is a tactic that deploys or hopes to achieve a strategy. My strategy is I'm going to convince everybody that all those other products aren't good. That's a strategy. What's the message? How do I craft the message? How do I say the message? Where do I say the message? Do I say it? Do I have the celebrity say it? Do I have an influencer say it? Does a Facebook ad say it? Does a Google organic listing say it? What does my website say it? So strategy is the underlying science, if you will, that hopes to achieve an objective. Objectives come first. Objectives result in strategies. What are the strategies I'm going to deploy to achieve this objective? But strategies don't do anything. You can't do a strategy. Strategies are where tactics are derived from. And you can absolutely do tactics. Tactics are what you do. So if we don't get to the layer of tactics, your message is absolutely not going to work.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Marty. We really could talk for a very long time on this. So I hate to wrap it up, but we're going to have to close it down. But for those who want to learn more about you, where should they head?
I've got a present for everybody. Anybody who's listening into this or sees this, I wrote a 28-page, very advanced, very detailed white paper, PDF, on the concepts of positioning and depositioning and what they are and what the elements are that go into them, with real-life examples of companies that have done it successfully, so you can see exactly how it works. And I've included what I call the positioning matrix, which I invented. And it's the world's first mathematical model. It's a grid that you fill in a couple of boxes, and it tells you what your positioning and depositioning platform needs to be. And I use it for my own clients. And I don't care whether it's a $1,000 client or $100 million client. It's the same exact process. So here's how you get it. And it's free. No obligations, no cost, no nothing. You go to one of my websites called crushcompetitors.com/guide. And it's an instant free download.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. And everyone, make sure to grab it. We will have that in the links within the show notes. Thank you so much for being with us, Marty. We really appreciate it.
This was absolutely delightful. I love talking about this. Thank you so much, Leah and Todd, for inviting me on. And I hope this was valuable.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.